You're not alone. If you need someone to talk to today, please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day, or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help. Hello and welcome to this edition of Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. I'm your host, Graeme Forsyth. Today's episode is brought to you by Purinetta, Fabricland Winkler, and many other sponsors to come in today's episode. Today is the 15th installment of MFHL Season Coverage on ASTV Productions, and today I'll be joined by two players from around the MFHL, but before I get into announcing the first of my two guests in today's episode, I just want to quickly show you guys some commitments from around the MFHL. And these are the university commitments from around the MFHL. If you guys want to check them out in more detail and see them more clearly, you can check them out at MFHLU18AAA.com. I know I've been away for a while, so I haven't been able to announce these to you guys, but yeah, if you want to check them out at MFHLU18AAA.com. My first guest on today's edition of MFHL Season Coverage is number 18, assistant captain and senior forward of the Winnipeg Ice, Martina Barclay. Martina is in her third and final season with the Ice this year. I had a chance to speak to Martina today about what it's been like playing for the Winnipeg Ice for the past two seasons and this year as well. I had a chance to speak to her about her university commitment on January 19th to St. Thomas Tommies Athletics. And I'll also have a chance to speak to Martina today about her 3-year career with the Kelvin Clippers in the Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League, where she put up some impressive numbers and accumulated some achievements as well throughout those 3 years. And I also had a chance to ask her about the 4 seasons she spent in the AA Hockey League here in Hockey Winnipeg with the AA Titans, a team made up of players from St. James and Seven Oaks area players. Today, it's going to be a great show. Can't wait to get it started, so sit back, relax, enjoy the show, bundle up, grab a cup of joe or whatever you guys bring to enjoy these shows with you. I'll be sitting down now with number 18, Martina Barclay of the Winnipeg Ice, on this edition of Coffee with Graeme's MFHL Season Coverage on ASTV Productions. Joining me now is number 18, senior forward and assistant captain of this year's Winnipeg Ice team in the MFHL, Martina Barclay. And Martina, some pretty fantastic news for you, committing to pursue your hockey career at that university level with St. Thomas Tommies Athletics. And the announcement was made on January 19th, but you said before we went live here that you committed a bit earlier. So which date do you actually commit on?
I committed around December 10th, I think. I started speaking with Coach Peter Murphy in late November and then committed early December.
So MFHL was a little late on the announcement of the commitment. Just a great Christmas present for you. Was that, considered one of your Christmas presents, making that commitment?
Yeah, I didn't see it coming, and it happened very quick, but I'm very happy with it, and it was definitely very exciting, and I'm still excited about it. Yeah,
I bet. And you're joining a program that won an Atlantic University Sport Conference Championship back in 2018-19. Just you were so excited to join this team because you chose it, because they really emphasize the importance of community and family. So is that probably the biggest reason why you joined the team, was just that feeling of family and community?
Yeah. Right away when I spoke with Coach Peter Murphy, I just felt very at ease. He answered all my questions, and I just really enjoyed our first conversation. And that just continued when I spoke to girls on the team, when I spoke to the admissions counselors. I spoke to the head of the journalism department, and they have a program called Adopt a Tommy, where you get assigned to a family. So you still live in residence, but you get to go for dinner with a family and they come support you at your games. So I really liked that, kind of having a family away from your family.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of community service. So that was super big for me.
Yeah, and just from looking at your time spent with the Winnipeg Ice and talking to Eugene Kaminsky, your head coach, just players that you played with on this team, I know that family is very important to you guys as a team, and it's awesome that you're joining a team that really fits your values of just what a team is supposed to be. Who did you have a chance to talk to on the team? I know you had a chance to talk to Coach Murphy, but did you have a chance to speak to any of the players that were still playing there and are still going to be playing there?
Yeah, I actually spoke to Lauren Legault, and she, I believe, is in her 5th year this year, but I think I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure she's coming back next year because they were given an extra year of eligibility.
Yeah.
And she actually also played for Eugene. She's from Manitoba. So it was nice to talk to somebody who came from Manitoba as well, because of course it is really far moving all the way out to New Brunswick. So I really enjoyed my conversation with her.
And having a chance to play with Lauren next season, assuming that we do have a season, I'm fingers crossed, hoping there is a season next year, especially for your rookie year. How excited are you to be able to really learn from Lauren?
Very excited, very excited. I think that I'm going to be able to learn from everybody on the team. And of course, somebody who's played in that league for 4 or 5 years is she's a great player. They have a really strong team, and I'm definitely going to be able to learn a lot from the coaches and the players. And I know that I'll only get better as I progress through the years. So learning from somebody who's played for a few years, like 4 or 5, they're definitely going to be used to the kind of game that you need to play at that level.
And you speak about Coach Murphy and the great conversations you've had with him, and he had some pretty awesome stuff to say about you. You've said that off ice, you're a strong student, very committed, very community minded. My apologies. Those are 2 key components to the women's hockey program, and will help contribute to her immediate success. So just going into the community work, have you had a chance to do much community work in your life so far?
Yeah. I've been a member of Girl Guides for my whole life since I was 6. So I've done a lot of community work through there with different organizations, the Cinema Park Zoo, Manitoba Harvest, the Women's Center Winnipeg. And then I've been pretty involved in the hockey community. I helped coach I was just an assistant coach for the Manitoba Monsters in 2019, I guess, because there obviously wasn't the spring season in 2020. I've helped at a few practices for my old spring team, the Manitoba Hurricanes. I really love that program, so I hope to also help this year if there can be anything, but we don't know about that. And then I'm pretty involved at my school, so that's definitely really important to me. I think you can learn a lot, and it's a lot of fun being involved in the community, so yeah.
And it must give you a sense of pride too, doing all those things.
Well, for example, like the Manitoba Hurricanes, I was on that team for 6 or 7 years. I was the first group to kind of start that hockey program with Rick Farmer, who's my longtime coach. And so it just felt really nice to be able to go and help at those practices and have those girls looking up to you because you're an older hockey player and you were also in the program. And I just think it's really important for young girls to have female hockey coaches and just sort of be able to see what it takes to play at the higher level and have a role model. So that was really special for me, especially the coaching.
And he's obviously, from what you've been telling me, Rick Farmer's been a huge influence throughout your career. Just what have been the things that you've taken away from your time, just getting to know and playing with Rick, and to just helping out with him as a coach?
Yeah, so Rick was my coach for, I think, my 6 seasons total and my first 4. So he kind of gave me the whole basis of my career so far. And he first taught me to use my speed, and that I think is the strongest point of my game. So definitely I always take that with me. He taught me all the basics about the game. He's a great power skating coach. So I feel like the reason that it's the best part of my game is because of him. And I've just had such positive interactions with him. I think that he really knows how to coach at so many different levels and just fosters great connections with his players. And with the Manitoba Hurricanes program, he has just created not only like a great development hockey-wise, but just a great community.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sounds like a fantastic individual, and obviously you've learned so much from him. And for you to be able to say that about him, it's speaks to the type of person that he is, for sure. Just going back to what Coach Murphy said about you, just hearing him praise you like that, just how much pride does that give you coming in knowing that there's a coach that's giving you this much praise?
Well, obviously I'm honored. I know that he's had some conversations with Eugene, so I have to say thank you to Eugene as well. But I'm just hoping that I can go there, and I know that I'll be able to live up to all expectations, and I'm just going to do my best to continue to give back to the community and do my best on the team. And it really means a lot that Coach Murphy has said all of those things about me, for sure.
And I had a chance to read one of the quotes that you were quoted on, and you said that you're going to be studying your thing, your major that you're going into, partially French. First off, before we get into the French aspect of things, just what are you going to be studying in your time with St. Thomas?
I'm going to be studying journalism. So I've heard great things about the journalism program there. What was the part that I'm sure about, the academics? I knew that it was a good hockey team and I knew about the league, but I didn't know much about the schooling. So they were so accommodating. I spoke to somebody from admissions who had graduated from the international relations program, which I was also interested in. And then I actually got the chance to speak to the head of the journalism department. So that was really important for me, and that really just solidified my decision. So I'm very excited. I know it's a great journalism program because I've heard more since then, and I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, and it's really cool that you're deciding to continue an education in partially French, because as a journalist, it always gives you more advantages going forward, moving in the workforce with not only knowing one language but knowing two languages. And I think that that's going to benefit you going down the road. So is that how important do you think it's going to be for yourself, knowing that you're going to not only be getting an education in English, but in French as well?
Very important for me. I've been in French since kindergarten, if you can count kindergarten. And I've always really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed the subject. And I just think I put so much time into learning in French, there would be no sense in throwing that all away and forgetting any year. And I do think that it will help a lot with my career. It's always been a goal of mine to learn as many languages as I can. So if I can become completely bilingual, right now I'm pretty fluent in French, but if I can be completely bilingual and just improve even more, which I know I'll be able to with their program there, then that's just a cherry on top.
And it's great to know that you're still fluent in French. I went to Collège Belleville, which is for my high school, which is a French immersion school. I spent my elementary years going to a called Julie Riel, and let me tell you, I don't really remember how to speak French too much. So it's great to know that you know the French language pretty well. It's great to know that, and yeah, it's going to benefit you tremendously, I think, moving forward in your career here, moving into journalism. But moving on, you're going to be moving away from home. Just how excited are you to move away from home and get some independence that way?
Well, it's kind of feels weird because I am the youngest of three.
Yeah.
I have two siblings who are older than me, so it's weird to be the baby of the family and moving away all the way out to New Brunswick. But I'm really excited. I think that I'll thrive in a new environment. I love to meet new people. I'm really excited to play on the team, and the team's going to be so inviting. So, of course, I know that at times it might be hard, but I'm mostly just very excited and excited to learn new things and meet many new people, especially after this year of COVID.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, do you think that maybe that's what you're most excited for, is just building these relationships, these bonds throughout the years with meeting these new people?
Definitely. I think that that's such an important thing in life, meeting new people, but especially with journalism, it's all about making connections. And so I'm especially excited to start that program and see how meeting all of these new people helps with my career in the future.
And just moving on to your game, what's been said about it is you spoke about how speed is probably the biggest strength of your game, but you're a strong two-way player as well. good on the PK. Just how do you feel that those strengths in your game are going to benefit the St. Thomas Tommies program right off the bat when you get there?
Well, of course, I feel like I can play in a lot of different situations and I learn quickly. So if I've been playing on the PK a lot with the Winnipeg Ice, but if I don't end up playing on the PK with Tommies, that's okay. I'll fit in where they need me. And I think, I bring a lot of speed and intensity to the game. And I want to win. So I'm really, I think that, like I said, I'm a fast learner and I have a lot to bring to their team. And I'm really excited to see how that works with everybody else on their team.
Something interesting that I saw was that you're only the third female player in terms of like the hockey program there to commit there this season. Do you feel that with the resume you've built up throughout your time here with the Winnipeg Ice, what you've been able to do in high school hockey at the AA level as well, it's really well documented that you get success. You're successful anywhere you go. Do you think that this move signing to a university like St. Thomas Tommies Athletics, knowing that it's because, to be honest, I'd never really heard about it until I heard you sign, is really, yeah, do you think that it's going to pave the way for other players that are looking to sign with the university to play their next stage of hockey and just the great things you've heard from it, knowing that it's a great program? Do you think that your commitment, your signing there is going to help pave the way for other players to come up and sign with this team?
I hope so. I really do, because I think even if you look at Lauren Legault signing there, Eugene had already spoken with Coach Peter Murphy. I had the chance to speak with her, and so she was able to tell me how it was for her moving from Manitoba. And so all those things are key factors into my decision. And so if I can help other people sign in the future as well, and if I can come back and talk about the program and help anybody sign anywhere, then that would be amazing.
Last thing about the university stuff, then we're going to move to break and move into some other stuff here. But how excited are you to play the variety of competition that you're going to be able to play against?
I'm very excited, and I'm excited because I will be playing against brand new people who I've never played against before. But on top of that, I'm also playing against some people that I know and that I've been playing against for a long time. There's like Kiara Esposito's playing for the University of Prince Edward Island, and we played on Hurricanes together, and I played against her my whole life. And then my friend Chelsea Craneville is also going to be playing in the league. She is also going to Moncton. So I can be more excited to kind of have a mix of old and new people to play against.
Yeah, getting to new faces, or getting to know new faces, getting to play against players that you've had a chance to meet before. It's going to be a lot of fun, and there's definitely going to be those rivalries built up for sure. I'm guessing. Yeah. So we're going to go to break, our first break of the show, Martina. I'm going to be right back with you to continue talking about just hockey in general, stuff like that. Probably your AA career up next here with Martina Barclay on this Week 15 installment of MFHL Season Coverage. Coming up, a word from one of our official sponsors, Pure Nata, here on Amateur Sports TV. Back here in this first part of this Week 15 installment of MFHL Season Coverage with Winnipeg Ice senior forward, assistant captain number 18, Martina Barclay. And before we move into Winnipeg Ice stuff, which we'll be doing later on in this interview, I'm going to ask you about your AA career, but I just want to ask you about just some of the things that I guess are considered fun facts about you. You been said that you've modeled your game after Jonathan Taves, of course, a Winnipeg-born player, won 3 cups, has an arena named after him, Dakota, which is pretty awesome. But just what stands out in Jonathan Tave's game that you really found that you wanted to model your game after him?
I think Jonathan Taves is he's an incredible leader. He's very well spoken. He's always very classy, and he's a great two-way player. So I've heard Jonathan Taves give interviews where he talks about how he could spend all of his time focusing on his offense, but he feels that he needs to be a reliable two-way player. He's a centerman. He wants to be reliable in the defensive end, and that's something that is really important for me as well. I think earlier on in my hockey career, everybody wants to score, and I definitely in AA, that was the main thing for me. And sort of moving through my AAA years, I've just wanted to be reliable at all ends of the ice, and especially in the defensive zone. So, if you're reliable in the defensive zone, then the goals will come eventually. And yeah, so I've always looked up to him. I've had the chance to meet him a few times. I've been a fan of him. I was a fan of him before they won the cup in 2010. So I've just, that's why I model my play after him.
And you had a chance to meet Jonathan Taves for yourself. What were those encounters like?
Well, the first one, I was really young, and my siblings basically pushed me into him in the street, and I didn't know what to say because I was 7. So that one was a little embarrassing, but the next one was a little more meaningful. When they used to have the summer showdowns here in Winnipeg, there was an autograph alley, and actually the picture in the background is the one that I got signed by him. So I just got to tell him that he's my favorite player, and then I really looked up to him as he signed it, and it was really nice for sure.
That's amazing. Something that you'll never forget.
Definitely not.
That's awesome. Just moving away from that, just looking at your nicknames that were listed on the Winnipeg Ice website, you got 3 that were listed: Tina, T, and Barks. What would you say is your favorite nickname out of those 3?
Oh, that's hard. So Tina, actually, I get called more than Martina, so I feel like it's almost not a nickname anymore.
Yeah.
It's actually, I love Martina. I don't mind being called that at all. I love that, but it's more common for me to be called Tina. So it's pretty hard though. I definitely get called Tina the most, but I get called T quite a bit. I always think it's funny when people call me Barks because that's what they always called my brother at hockey. So I don't get called that one as much, but I guess I'd have to go with Tina since it's just kind of my second name now.
Yeah, and it makes your name shorter. Just take away the MAR, and then it's Tina Barclay. But I think Barks is a pretty cool one. I know that.
The last name was always good.
Yeah, for sure. So moving away from that stuff, moving into your AA career that you played with the AA Titans, a team made up of 7 Oaks and St. James area players here in Winnipeg. You were able to win a championship with that team. You spent 4 seasons there, but in 2016-17, you ended up winning a city championship with that team. And in that season, you had a fantastic year, and you ended up making the AA League All-Star game and ended up winning the MVP of that game. So just, I know it's a while ago now, but just take me back to that game where you just showed up and showed out for the squad you were on.
Yeah, that was a really special season. We were really close that year that we won the championship. And that All-Star game was really fun because that was my 3rd year of playing AA. So we kind of all knew each other. So it was just like playing a big fun game with your friends. And I was definitely really honored to get the MVP because I felt like every single person there was an MVP. That's why we were at the All-Star game. So that was definitely a really special day, and it was really fun.
And you talked about how it was a really special year for you guys, of course, winning a city championship. But what made that championship squad of the AA Titans so special, in your opinion?
Well, I remember my very first year of Titans, we had Kurt Gottfried was our coach, and he said, guys, we have a really good team, and let's leave it all on the ice because you never know if we'll have a team this good again. And then 2 years later, we had virtually the same team. I think there was only maybe one person different. So we were really close. We already played together 2 years before. It was just like a big family. We used to listen to before every playoff game, we listen to My Heart Will Go On from the Titanic, which is not your cliche pump up music. So we thought it was so much fun, and it pumped us up, and then we won, and it was really special and a fun time. And then people kind of went their separate ways, as you know, some went to play for St. Mary's, some went to AAA, some of us stayed in AA. So that felt kind of like the end of sort of an era.
Yeah, for sure. And just knowing that you guys were virtually the same team that year, you only had like one player that was different. Just the family experience, the bonding, just being able to, I'm assuming that like the chemistry was built up very good too, and you guys were very strong. Just do you think that in those games, I don't know if you guys routed every team or there were some close games, but if there were close games, was that something that really helped you guys? Was that experience?
There definitely were close games. I think we played the Predators in the finals, and then I believe we played the Saints, and the Saints have always been a strong team. There's never been a year of hockey that I've played against them they haven't been a good team. So definitely I think that the chemistry and having played with each other for so long, we knew where each other was going to be, and that came in clutch in big games and important moments.
Could you speak about the regular season you had first off before we get into the postseason? Did you guys finish as, I mean, at the top of the standings, or did you guys finish like not at the top but near the top of the standings?
This is the funny part. We were pretty good the whole year, kind of in the middle, and then we actually had a 10-game losing streak right before the playoffs.
Wow.
And we went to shootouts with teams that we had never lost to before, and like we had no idea what was happening. And then all of a sudden something happened and we started playing My Heart Will Go On, and we didn't lose. So we ended up losing provincials to Eastman. They were a very good team that year, but it was definitely an interesting regular season. We went to Regina. We had a lot of fun there. I think we did well at that tournament. But yeah, then we went to we had a 10-game losing streak right before the playoffs that we won.
So you're saying the song that you guys played before the games was the reason you guys ended up winning the championship?
Yep, Celine Dion can do magical things, you know.
But yeah, that's crazy. A 10-game losing streak heading into playoffs. So as talented as you guys were, you know, a 10-game losing streak is probably really strange to you guys then because you knew you guys were so good. But just in terms of like the on ice stuff, how do you feel the team turned it around come playoff time?
I think we knew that we were a strong team. Like I said, we knew we had that chemistry. We knew that we could pull it off. We sort of just said, you know what? Well, we just got all of our losses out all at once. And so now they're done, and let's just move on to playoffs. And we just sort of regrouped, and we just got super excited for our games, and we really, really wanted to win, and it happened, I guess.
Being able to win a championship, you got close last year, but unfortunately the season got shut down due to COVID-19. I know how devastating that must have been, but just being able to win a championship with that team, just I'm assuming the feeling was amazing knowing that you guys weren't playing your best hockey coming into the playoffs and you guys finally picked it up again. Just what was it like being able to win a championship with that team?
Of course, it was so exciting. To win a championship is fun. It's great. But to win it with a team that you love so much, that you're so close with, especially after that 10-game losing streak and after the season that we had, and especially since everyone was kind of moving on to different things the next year, like I said, like it was just such a special moment. It felt like we as a team had been waiting for this for so long. Of course, everybody waits to win a championship, but it was really special. And, you know, it just goes to show that things can change so quickly in the game of hockey. You know, we had a few tight games in that playoff run, but we ended up pulling it off, and it was a great feeling.
And you didn't have a chance to win provincials. You said you guys lost in the finals, but you ended up winning provincial playoff finals MVP. Just how obviously you had so much success that season as an individual, not only as a team, but you as an individual. And for you to be able to win that award in the provincials, getting that MVP, just how special was that for you?
Well, that was a great playoff run, and we got into lines that worked really well for us. So I think it was a lot of my line mates that made me look okay. But the Eastman was a very good team. The Eastman Selects are one of my favorite teams to play all the time. I just think that they're such fun games. They have some super skilled players. I used to play spring with one of their goalies, Geneva Penner, and so that was a really exciting game for us. It has nothing to do with the other teams. It's just we wanted to play the Eastman Selects. And so those games were really tight. We did believe that we could win. And I think, again, things can change so quickly, and sometimes it's just one little moment that puts you ahead. So unfortunately we lost, but I think I was very honored to get the MVP that year because I felt like, again, so many people could have gotten it, especially with the great play of the Eastman Selects, with them winning. And I just had really great line mates, and we worked well together. I believe I was playing with Katie Krause at that time, and her and I played together for almost 6 years on a line. At that point, I think that was our fourth, but we kind of just knew where each other would be. So it's definitely a lot of my line mates' work.
Looking back at your time with the Titans, just from the start of your time playing there to the end of your time playing there, just what type of player were you coming into, the type of player you came out of that program as?
I was definitely the type of player to just want to score, want to be on the power play. Not necessarily even that I had to score myself, but I wanted to get a lot of points. I wanted to always put points up on the board. And then I realized that I wasn't being as reliable in the defensive end, and that as a centerman, I had to be more of a two-way player. And I really hated playing the wing at the time. Now I'm kind of okay with switching, even though I do prefer center, but I hated playing the wing. And I realized, okay, if you want to stay at center, then you need to be a two-way player. So I think that I came out of it with more of a two-way mind or defensive minded. And then when I went to ice, Jessica and Eugene have given me a lot of opportunities and help in improving that part of my game, especially like with all the opportunities on the penalty kill and helping me with my face-offs and everything like that. So that's been really big for me. So I think that was the biggest shift for me from the beginning of AA to now.
And you spoke about how close this team was, how much you guys bonded. Obviously, a lot of you guys went their separate ways. But how can you describe just the friendships that were made within this AA Titans team?
I think that they're lasting. I haven't spoken to some of the people very often, right? It's hard to stay in contact with 17 people who you don't see anymore. But no matter when we see each other, it's just like seeing an old friend because, well, we are seeing an old friend, but it's just like no time has passed. Even if some of us are going away to different universities or anything, it's just like you can always sit down and have a whole conversation. You could sit down and talk for hours just about what everybody's been up to lately. And I feel like if that team got back together, it would just be really fun. And if we got together for a party, not now because of COVID, and we lived all of those memories, it would still be just as fun. So.
Yeah, for sure. And if there's one thing that I learned from my 12 years of playing minor hockey is when you find that certain team where it's like a brotherhood, and in your case, a sisterhood.
Yeah.
But those are the things, no matter what the results are, that you're always going to remember is the long-lasting friendships and the bonds that you've made, for sure. So we're going to move into our second commercial break here in the show. You're going to hear from Fabricland Winkler coming up next for our next commercial, but I'll be right back with Martina Barclay, number 18 of the Winnipeg Ice, to move into talking about her high school hockey career with the Kelvin Clippers. Stick with me and Martina here on this edition of Coffee with Graeme's MFHL coverage on Amateur Sports TV. Back here on Amateur Sports TV for this edition of MFHL Season Coverage on Coffee with Graeme. Of course, I'm your host, Graeme Forsyth, joined by number 18 of the Winnipeg Ice, Martina Barclay. We started off talking to Martina about her commitment to St. Thomas Tommies Athletics. Then after the first commercial break, we moved into talking about just some fun facts and just talking about her time with the AA Titans, a team made up of 7 Oaks and St. James area hockey players. And now we're going to move into your high school hockey career before we move into your time with the Winnipeg Ice. You've played 3 years in the Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League in the top division, and you made the team back in 2017-18, and you ended up making that team as a grade 9. Just what was that like, being able to make that team as a grade 9 player?
Well, of course, being the youngest, it was a little intimidating at first, but it was such a welcoming environment. The whole Kelvin Clipper family is really special, and I'd been looking forward to playing for the hockey team for so long because my sister played on the team for all 4 years. She's 6 years older than me, so that was a while ago, but I'd been looking forward to it for a really long time. And so when I got there, everybody from all grades was so welcoming. And actually some of my closest friends were in grade 12. And it was a really great experience. I was really excited to bring what I had for the game to the table. And I really enjoyed my first season.
And knowing that you had family members playing for that team, just how special did it make it, knowing that you've had family members that have played for that team, and just knowing that you're able to make that team?
Well, of course, it was really special. Like I walked in when my sister played, I was they called me their little mascot, and I would go on the family skates, and sometimes I'd fill their water. I was that little sister. So going into that dressing room instead as a player, and it had been painted all red, all the Kelvin colors. Like my sister's age group painted it that way, and I remember when they did that. So that was kind of fun in that sense. Unfortunately, I didn't get the same coach as her. Sam Tuga, was the coach for a very long time, and I was really looking forward to having him as a coach, but unfortunately, he was out of town for that year. So I got Mr. Bruce Sorrell, and he was an amazing coach. And I, even though I didn't get the same coach as my sister, I had a whole different personal experience. So that was really great, and I really, really enjoyed having Mr. Sorrell as a coach.
What was the type of relationship you built up with him? You spent 3 seasons there. You didn't get to play your grade 12 season due to COVID-19, but just the types of things that he's been able to teach you throughout the past 3 years, and just the relationship you built up with him.
Mr. Sorrell, like I said, has been an incredible coach. He's always had a lot of faith in me and in what I can do, and he's always encouraged me to try new things and be creative on the ice. And I usually have a pass first mentality, and sometimes he's helped me hold on to the puck a little more in certain situations. And like I said, he's had a lot of faith in me, and he's been super understanding that sometimes I need to rush off to AAA hockey and that sort of thing. So he's always been very great and accommodating with that. And I'm really happy that I was allowed to play both AAA and high school, because I think they both taught me different things.
What were the big differences that you notice in the game? Because you're not only playing as a grade 9 player, but playing against players that are grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12. Just speak about the adjustments you had to make to the competition that you're playing against.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed playing both, like I said, because they are very different. In grade 9, obviously, I was playing AA. I wasn't in AAA yet, but I had the opportunity to play up for the Winnipeg Avros. So I kind of knew what it would take to play older age girls, and I knew that I would be able to contend with them. So my first year, I think, was probably actually my best year of high school hockey, because I was so excited to get out there and prove myself. And I like I said, had a great team that year, especially. And it's definitely interesting playing girls that are 3 years older than you. I'm not a very big person to begin with, so if any of them were like tall, big grade 12s, I definitely needed to use my speed in those cases. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I think that I adjusted relatively quickly.
What was it like, obviously playing against, like, you got to play against older players, but what was it like just being able to come on a team where, in that first season you had 3 grade 12s, 2 grade 11s, rest were either grade 9, grade 10, but getting to bond with players that were much older than you?
It was amazing. It really makes you feel welcome in the school. My 2 closest friends, or my 3 closest friends on the team, were all older than me that year. So I was friends with Erin Valgoodson, who was actually on my track team, and she actually went on a track scholarship to North Dakota State University. So even though she ended up going for track, she really knew what it took to win, and she was a really hard worker. And I used to go to her house for breakfast. She would drive me every day, and so it was really nice having a friendly face in the um, older grades. And then I was actually pretty good friends with McKenna Riley, who just unfortunately passed away in December. But we were good friends, and she really helped me feel welcome on the team, and was one of my first friends at Kelvin. And then my other close friend, Coco Diamond Burchuk, actually played on the Titans with me that year that we won, and in my very first year. And she's 1 year older than me. So that was really nice having those 3, especially there, to just make me feel welcome, and having friends around the school.
And is that what you love about high school sports? Not sure if you played any other high school sports, but just high school hockey in general, knowing that you're going to classes with some of these girls, you know them pretty well. Just compared to playing on a team like the Winnipeg Ice, a team like the Titans, where you might go to school with some of these girls, but you're with these girls all the time, every day, basically going to classes like that and stuff. So just, do you think that's probably the coolest thing about high school sports in general, is just the fact that you build those closer bonded relationships? I guess what I'm trying to say.
Definitely, definitely. AAA hockey is a huge, huge commitment, and we're there 5 or 6, sometimes 7, but usually 6 times a week. So there was no shortage of hockey. I chose to play high school hockey because I wanted to make those connections, and I wanted to make more friends around the school and play in the hockey day game where the school comes to watch. And so that was definitely the most important thing about high school hockey for me, and it's why I kept coming back. And I definitely made some lasting friendships there, and I will always look back at those memories with a smile, for sure.
Could you take us through what the hockey day was? Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, so every year at Kelvin, and not this year, unfortunately, obviously, but in December, we have something called the holiday breakfast, where we'll bring in an elementary school, usually an inner city school, and we'll feed them a pancake breakfast, and Santa will come and give them toys. And so what we usually do is we have a hockey day, and so the girls team and the boys team will have a game on the same day. And usually we play around 4:15, but this game is kind of in the middle of the afternoon, and students can buy tickets to the game, and all the proceeds go to that holiday breakfast, and then we get to play. So we have a lot of people coming to watch, and I've always really enjoyed when people come to watch. It just makes me so excited to just try to play my best. So my first year we played Vincent Massey, and we won 6-5, and it was just back and forth, like 6-5. That's pretty high scoring, so that was really exciting, and to have the whole team there. And I ended up getting a hat trick that game, and so some of the grade 12s were throwing their hats on the ice, and I was just so overwhelmed because these grade 12s, and I was just a little grade 9, and these grade 12 football players were so excited. So that kind of gives you like the whole sense of school spirit. It's like homecoming for a football team. And then in grade 10 and 11, we got to play St. Mary's, which was obviously fun because I know almost the whole team, and I was teammates with some of them on ice, so that's always a blast. So I'm sad that hockey day couldn't happen this year, but it's definitely one of the highlights of my high school career, for sure.
That's awesome. And Santa coming all the way from the North Pole to Kelvin
Yeah.
High School. Pretty awesome. Yeah. But yeah, it's cool that, like, proceeds go to like special things, which is
Yeah.
really cool. And that really aligns with your views of what
Mhm.
your community views are of helping out the community. That's great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about like favorite memories. That's probably one of your favorite memories from
Yeah.
just your time playing high school. But just looking at your achievements, the things that you achieved with Kelvin, you ended up winning top rookie of the Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League A division in your first season. You were top scorer MVP on Kelvin that season. To be able to win the MVP of the team in that year as a grade 9, I'm sure that it's always special, but winning it at such a young age was probably even more special for you.
Yeah, well, every time I step on the ice, I want to make a difference, and I knew that I came from a really strong hockey background. Some of our team had come from ringette. Some people were super intense about winning, and some not so much, and that's all okay because it's high school hockey, and we're there to have fun and make connections. While winning, but I always held myself very accountable when I went on the ice. I wanted to make a difference, and no matter what grade I was in, I wanted my teammates to be able to count on me, and I knew that I was going to have to put some points on the board to help us get some wins. So that's what I tried my best to do, and yeah.
And other than winning those achievements that year in your grade 10 and 11 years, you won Kelvin's grade 10 female athlete of the year, and then in grade 11, the female athlete of the year again. To win that award back to back with the athletes you have at your school, just the sense of pride that you got from doing that.
Yeah, I think that was the award that meant the most to me. I played on the hockey team, and I was on the track team. Um, in grade 10, I was also on the rugby team and badminton team. So just knowing that my hard work had paid off was great. But I didn't do it for the award. I did it because I really enjoyed playing the sports, and just, like I said before, the whole community of playing for a school team. And I've done track my whole life, so as much as hockey has become my first sport, and obviously it's my priority, I have done track my whole life. So some of my favorite memories from high school are definitely from the Kelvin track team. And so winning that award, it was really special to be recognized by my coaches. I was very honored, especially like you said, with the amount of incredible athletes that there are at Kelvin. Athletics are a really big thing at Kelvin High School, so that was definitely a very special moment for me.
And you pointed out how you've done track, you've played badminton, rugby, stuff like that. Just being a two-sport athlete, knowing the importance of not only playing one sport, but two sports. Just what have things like track, badminton, and rugby really helped you and benefiting you in your hockey life?
Well, badminton definitely taught me that I need to work on my hand-eye coordination. Um, so I won't be like Sidney Crosby batting down pucks anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the track, yeah, I started in grade 8 and I joined Winnipeg Optimist, where I had a coach named Scott Radley, who I still have today. And he's just an incredible coach, and he has helped me so much. And I definitely noticed a really big increase in my speed because I'm a sprinter. And so I definitely noticed that it really helped my speed on the ice as well. So of course, that's very important to me. And I do think that it's important to cross train to improve all aspects of your physical fitness. And yeah, so there's that. And then my rugby, of course, I did get to use my speed there as well, mostly in sevens rugby, which is when there's 7 people on the field. I got to run a little bit more, and I really love my coaches are Glenn. So I just think all different sports has taught me a lot just about competition. It's helped with my speed on the ice, and just helped me stay physically fit, which is of course really important, and hand-eye coordination.
Right on, right on. So one more question before we move into our final commercial break of this part of the episode. It seems like you were consistent throughout your whole career with Kelvin. I didn't get a chance to look at the stats you had in your rookie year, but I know in your grade 10 year you had 26 points, 17 goals, 9 assists. And then in your final year, which was supposed to not be your final year, but it ended up being your final year, you improved that and put up 19 goals, 9 assists, 28 points in 16 games played. And what looking at those numbers, what speaks to me about it, what jumps off the page is just the consistency, but not only that, the ability to elevate your game each season. Just how do you think you were able to do what you did on the ice during your time playing for the Kelvin Clippers?
Well, I think most hockey players are hard on themselves no matter how many points they're putting up. So for me, it was just, if I didn't score one game, then I had to score 2 the next game. And it's not all about scoring. It could have been assists. It could just be, I didn't win very many faceoffs today. I need to win more faceoffs. I didn't use my speed enough to get around people today. I need to fix that tomorrow. I need to have a better forecheck. So for me, it's just always holding myself accountable. And it's really important for me to do that to help out my team, but it's just also important for myself. I want to be consistent. And I think that the best players, in the National Women's League and the NHL, anywhere you play are the consistent ones. So I've always just tried to play that way my whole career.
Yeah, and a sign of a great leader is holding herself accountable overall, for sure. And it's great that you've been able to do that during your time with Kelvin. And yeah, I think what's going to be very exciting is us talking about your time playing for the Winnipeg Ice coming up here on this edition of Coffee with Graeme, this interview with Martina Barclay, number 18, assistant captain of this year's Winnipeg Ice squad. We're going to go to our third and final commercial break, maybe of this part of the interview, but stick with me and Martina. We'll be right back here on this edition of MFHL Season Coverage Week 15 installment on Amateur Sports TV. Back here with Martina Barclay, number 18 of the Winnipeg Ice on Amateur Sports TV's edition of Coffee with Graeme's MFHL Season Coverage. It's been great getting to really know Martina as a player so far in this interview, and we're going to dive into her time with the Winnipeg Ice now. But before you even had a chance to step on the ice with the Winnipeg Ice, you ended up playing some games in the MFHL in 2017-18 for the Winnipeg Average when you AP'd for the team. You played 4 games, had a goal and an assist and a win over Interlake. And you guys also won every game there when you were there. So just going back to that time, what was it like getting your first taste of MFHL season action?
When I played out for the Avros, it felt like the biggest deal. I was just trying to take everything in. Everybody acted with professionalism, and it was just AAA hockey. And so I just remember realizing, like, wow, these girls really want to win. This is serious. They were super welcoming, and I really, really enjoyed my time. I loved having Ashley Van Egelen as a coach, even just for 4 games. And of course, we have the Avro rivalry now, but it doesn't change the fact that I really, really enjoyed my time having her as a coach and playing with the girls in the team. Some of them have graduated now, but I remember I was on a line with some great players, and I just remember watching, Jessie Sumeling, Taylor Coward, Brian Dondo, and just seeing how they played the game and how they were so intense and always working so hard on the ice. And I think that I played very well in those games because I felt the need to elevate my game to play with them. And so that was, I think, it was a great experience for me to be able to do that. And it definitely helped in the tryout process for AAA.
Yeah, moving into the tryout process, you ended up getting picked by the Winnipeg Ice. I believe that the Ice and Avros had did they have like joint tryouts where like they picked from like the same player pool, correct?
Yeah. So we all try out together, and then there's a draft at the end. But since that was the first year that the Ice were coming back, I believe they had the first 10 picks. That might be the wrong number, but I'm pretty sure it was the first 10. So just because they had to create a whole new team. So I did go to the Ice. I was okay with going to either team. I really enjoyed my time playing for the Ice, and I'm glad that I was picked for the Ice. And yeah, it's been great, and I've learned so much, and I think I would have learned so much on either team, and so just being able to play AAA hockey is really a blessing.
Do you think maybe the coolest thing about getting picked by the Ice in that season was just the fact that this team was coming back for the first time since, I believe it was, I forget which season, but they were gone for a while, and they added this program back in 2018-19. Just the feeling of getting picked by this team in their first year back must have been a pretty special feeling to be named one of the players on that team.
It was really cool, and yeah, like none of us had really played together before. Usually you come on a team and some of you have played together. Of course, there were people I knew. I came and I was playing with Katie Krause, who I'd played with all my Titans career, Reagan Udall, who I'd played with my whole Titans career. Emily Shipham was our goalie, and I have played hockey against her my whole life, and she's one of my very good friends, and I played spring hockey with her, so we definitely knew each other. But in AAA, you're having everybody from Winnipeg come together, which usually means many of you haven't played together. But then on top of that, there's people from all grades that were just coming together for this brand new team. So I think we lost our first 7 games, and then after that we said, okay, let's go to work. We're kind of getting used to each other now, and there was kind of the running joke that all of us were rookies because it was all of our first year. But it was definitely a fun season, and it's only gotten better since then.
Yeah, and you had a pretty solid season as a rookie, 28 games played, 12 goals, 5 assists, 17 points. Just for you to come in with this new group of girls and to put up a not like outstanding stats, but a solid stat line, just what went into you being able to do what you did in that season, putting up solid numbers like you did?
Well, actually, I think my first half of the season, I didn't score very much. I know I got my first goal on October 7th, but I don't think that I was super consistent in the first half. And then near the end, I sort of started to find where my place was on the team. That's when I started playing a little more in the penalty kill, and just sort of figuring out what my role was. And so I think that as much as playing for the Avros was so helpful for me and taught me what I needed to do, I still took a little longer than I feel I should have to adjust. And so then by the end of the season, I was sort of starting to get more into my groove. And then my grade 11 year, so I guess last year, my second year, that's where I really felt like I played my best hockey. So, yeah.
And you guys were all rookies coming into this league. You've had a chance to play with some of the players coming in, and you're coached and still coached by Eugene Kaminsky. And Eugene has a very good history of building programs up, making teams championship contenders. And from the first 2 years of the Winnipeg Ice coming back, he's been able to do that. You guys made it to 2 straight semifinals. You guys ended up going to the finals last year, but just going back to your first conversation with Eugene, just what was that like, being able to really kind of get to know him at the start?
Well, our very first conversation was pretty short. It was congratulations, you made the Winnipeg Ice. And I was like, oh, really? Yay.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think we had a team meeting, and we were just so excited to all meet each other. And he just told us his expectations, and I have really enjoyed him as a coach, and I liked him from the very beginning, but I think that as the years have progressed, it's just gotten even better. He sort of knows more of how I play now. Even though he did watch me before, I think he kind of understands my character better now. And and I know also where I can fit in the team. And so him and Jessica Kaminsky have given me a lot of different opportunities. more on the power play this year before we shut down and kind of near the end of last year, as well as a lot on the penalty kill, which I've been really grateful for, and they really helped me grow my defensive game for sure.
You spoke about how you struggled in the first half of that year, but then you really picked it up in the second half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And it really started in December, where you, from there and onward, you put up 13 of your 17 regular season points. What for you was the biggest factor in you turning things around in that year?
I feel like a broken record, but I was just trying to hold myself accountable. I was coming home saying, I know I'm not playing my best, especially coming after a relatively good season with the Titans, with that championship and the MVP at the provincial championship. So I just knew that I had to be better, and I knew that I could be. And I had strong line mates in Maggie Medlock and Katie Krause, and we were working pretty well together. So I knew that I just needed to bear down and just try to focus on the game and nothing external, and just focus mentally before the game. And that's what I started to do, and I think it paid off.
Do you think struggling like you did by not putting up points on up on the stat sheet like you did not do early on, like when you didn't put up points, do you think that even though it sucked at the time, you're holding yourself accountable, but do you think that those are really sometimes beneficial for a player to kind of learn how to come out of that slump and become the best player that they can be?
Of course. I haven't had a slump since then, and that doesn't mean to say that I'm scoring every single game since then, but I do feel that now I'm able to play more consistently, and it's not so much about points for me. It's being reliable in the defensive end, and it's having a good back check. It's being in the right places. It's winning face-offs is really important. It's having a good forecheck, having quick release, just always thinking ahead. And so that sort of thing is just as important to me. And that also came into play in that first slump. I didn't feel like I was doing all of those things, and that is why I wasn't getting the goals. So, if I'm doing all those things and not scoring, that's okay. But because it will come. But I think that going through that sort of taught me what I need to do and think about when I'm not scoring or when I'm having trouble. And so I think that now I'm a lot less hard on myself, and I kind of know what I need to do to mentally reset.
And I had a chance to talk to Eugene back in August and really speak to him about that first year. He said that he knows you guys were a young team. He said that he expected it to take a bit more time, but then you guys started winning and winning more, and you guys ended up finishing 4th place that season and ended up going to the semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, what do you think it was the talent of this team that really came through and stepped up in the end that really made you guys able to get as far as you guys did and finish as good as you guys did in the season?
Yeah, of course. At the very beginning, we were a brand new team who hadn't played together. We were kind of seen as underdogs. And once we got to January, Eugene told us this, and we knew this. We're not the underdogs anymore. Everybody knows who we are. Everybody knows what we can do. On paper, we're a very good team. So now we need to go out there and show that it's not just on paper. We actually are a very good team. So we were always still trying to continue to prove ourselves. And we really had to elevate our game against teams, especially the likes of the Chiefs and Westman, especially. I don't think we even beat them that year. Or maybe we did once. So, and the Avros. So we just knew that we had to elevate our game, and I think we did a good job of that. And we did have a really talented team, with Reagan Udall, Julia Bird, Kate Stewart. And Emily Shippon was an incredible goalie. We were really sad when she left. So then we came together, and unfortunately we lost to Westman that year. They're always a very strong team, but that's what we knew we had to do.
Yeah, Westman's always a strong team. They've had players like JC Magwood, Ashton Bell, other great players too. I'm not going to name all of them because there's so many to name. Too many. Yeah. But yeah, just going back to the type of coach Eugene was coming in and knowing he had this much talent, Do you think that Eugene's coaching style, his ability to coach you guys to get the best out of every single one of you guys, was also a big reason why you guys did so good?
Yeah, for sure. He picked us, and because he thought that we would work well together. And so he definitely, especially my second year, they tried to mix up the lines a lot and see who worked well together. And they tried to, they mixed us up, and we were, like I said, we were a talented team, but talent only gets you so far. And they really preached that we had to be hardworking as well, and that we had to be focused. And I think that they did a good job with drilling certain bad habits out of us. And that's what I would say about that.
In the playoffs, you put up a goal, 2 assists, 3 points, and in 6 games played, you guys swept Eastman in that first round. You came through huge with a deciding goal in that game 3 to send you guys through. Not sure if you scored the game winner or not, but you had a goal in that deciding game 3. Then your guys' run ended losing to Westman, who became the champions of the league that season. Just looking back at that playoff run, knowing how much you guys accomplished as being at the first year you guys were together, just how proud did that not only make you, but as a team as a whole?
Of course, we were super proud, especially with our less than strong beginning. I don't think we had a very good showing at the tournament we traveled to that year. So we were very excited for playoffs to start. We were super pumped. And coming off that first round win against Eastman, we never expected to sweep Eastman. They're a very strong team. They had Reagan Kirk as their goalie, who is an outstanding goalie, and she did play great still. And so that was a very exciting goal that I scored. Yep. And other players, of course, scored as well. I can't remember everybody, but that was super exciting. So I think that just propelled us forward into the next round. And unfortunately, we didn't beat Westman, but of course, they're a really strong team, and they ended up going on to win. But we really felt that we did, and we could have. And we never gave up. We just kept fighting, and in the end, wasn't the result we wanted. But that's hockey, and that's definitely was a fun playoff run for us.
Yeah, and you guys go out as a first-year team, first time together at this level, beating the defending champion Eastman Selects. Then, of course, going up against a Westman team, definitely a good learning experience for you guys, for the returning players, especially coming in. What would you say that you guys took away the most from that playoff run in general?
Well, I think I've said this before, but the games are so tight, and they can really go either way, no matter if you've beat them before, or if you lost every game against them before. And so that's really what we took away. And we knew how competitive playoffs are. And even when we swept Eastman, it wasn't because they were a bad team. They're a very strong team. The playoffs are a whole different breed of hockey. We took that with us. We knew that no matter. So like last year, we knew we were a good team the whole year. The only team we really had struggles beating were the Avros. And of course, Westman was strong, but we were at least able to beat them once. And so we just knew that we always had to bring our A game, because it can go either way. And we know that we didn't beat the Avros in the regular season. And so there was a lot of talk that we probably wouldn't beat them in the playoffs, but we felt confident that we would easily contend with them. And we knew that there would be, if we did lose, it would not be a sweep. And we were super confident that we had a good chance of winning the championship last year.
Yeah, and I think that just goes into the type of playoffs that you guys had, especially in just talking about last year, 2019, 2020, the season then, when you guys went up against the Yellowhead Chiefs, who's a very strong team and were battle tested. I think that if you guys were able to play in the finals against the Avros, if that series happened, knowing you guys were able to get it done in, those moments where it's a game of inches going up against this Winnipeg Avros team. I think that you guys would have been able to have a very good shot of maybe not beating them, but pushing them in that series for sure. But we're going to move into last year now. You guys ended up improving as a team. A year more experience. You guys only had 5 rookies on the team. And, you guys finished second place in the league. You improved the goals for, goals against. Of course, Morgan Baker was a year older. You guys added a goaltender in Rylan Lubke.
Yeah.
And other players like Maya Ammon, who won the league's Rookie of the Year, Alexis Woodward, Tatum Nicholson on the back end, and Juliana Duma. What could you say about the players that you guys added to this team and how they just fit in so well?
Well, it fit perfectly because we know them and we've played with them before. I've played with Juliana Duma in spring. Of course, Juliana Duma played with Julia and Sarah and Brooke like in twins, so they already had that good chemistry. I didn't know very much about Maya Eamon when she first came in, but she was just such a standout player on our team, and I was so impressed with her rookie year. She really stood out to me, and especially coming off my rookie year where I thought I didn't perform very well. I thought, wow, that's what it should have been like. So she definitely stepped up, and I think she fully deserved that rookie of the year. And then and we were really sad to lose Emily Shiplin, but I had never really seen Rylan play too much, and so adding her was a great addition. Like, to know that you have 2 goalies that you can count on, especially, was great. And yeah, I'd also played with Lexi Woodward before. I played against her a lot, so I knew how she played, and I'd also played on Spring for Futures Hockey with her. So we all kind of knew each other, and a lot of us were the same age. The only 2 that were younger were Tatum and Maya. So I'd never played with Tatum either, but I think that they just clicked right with the team, and right from the get-go, it was a good match, and we worked well together. And no matter what lines there were, you could always find somebody that you could play well with.
And my apologies to Maya. I always said Maya Ammon, but it's Maya Eamon, as you just said. Yeah. But yeah. But, for you coming in, you had a year under your belt. You really made an impact on your team on the scoreboard in the last half of the season when you got out of your slump. But what was the biggest area of your game coming in that you focused on?
Well, coming after my first season, I had, like I said before, especially focused on my defensive game. So I felt that now I knew where I had to be. I knew how to be a 2-way player. I just needed to put it into action. So I was able to do that because they kept me on center, which I was really thankful for, and I really enjoyed playing that position. And yeah, they gave me so many, both Jessica and Eugene gave me so many opportunities on the penalty kill. And I really enjoy the penalty kill because it's so high stakes, and just the fact that they have trusted me to go out there in situations like that. Some teams have some very lethal shots. Jory Henson-Young on the Western Wildcats, it's always very stressful going against her on the penalty kill. So the fact that they can trust me to do that means a lot. And so then I felt like I really wanted to step up more on the ice. I knew my role on the team, so I knew that now that I focused on my defensive game a little bit, I could put some more points on the board, and I could be a 2-way player. I didn't just have to focus on the defensive end. I could do a bit of both, and so yeah.
Yeah, and just talking about penalty kill, going out and blocking shots. I know that it must be stressful, but do you kind of enjoy going out and just trying to go block shots against these girls with huge clappers, hard shots, or like you said, is it stressful and you kind of get some anxiety with that?
Well, of course, it's a little stressful. Sometimes it's more stressful because you don't want them to score, not because they're about to get hit with a puck. The one thing that I will say is that when you are playing somebody who has a very good power play and somebody who has a very good shot, a very good player, you know that they generally won't shoot it right at you. So if you get right in their lane and they have the hardest shot in the league, usually they know not to shoot it right at your shins and they will pass it off. So that's the one little thing that I hold on to when I'm going against a really good power play. But it's a lot of fun to play in those situations, and having a good block can sometimes feel just as good as a goal.
Yeah. And I used to block shots back when I played, and you get in the wrong spot, it hurts.
Yep.
A couple times getting in the foot, I thought I broke my foot, but it was just so sore. But it ended up being all right. But moving into the playoffs, you guys ended up winning the first series 3-1 over Central Plains. Then you go up against Yellowhead, a very close series. You guys end up going to 5 games, and you guys end up coming out of that. You guys go 6-3 in the playoffs, and you put up 6 points in 9 games played. Just for you to be able to have that type of success in the playoffs, improving your totals from the year before, just what for you was clicking in your game come playoff time last year?
I think it was just a matter of, things kind of clicking into place. It was nearing the end of my second year. I'd really adjusted to the league. I knew what I could bring to the table with our team, and I knew what I had to do when I stepped on the ice. And I had great line mates. I played with Reagan Udall, who is probably the fastest person on our team and one of the fastest people I've played with, if not the fastest. And so us working together was a lot of fun. And then I was with Brooke Oxenfirth on the penalty kill, and I always knew I could trust her to be in the right place and not chase around too much. So it was a lot of my teammates as well. There's a lot of trust between us, and yeah, just knowing what you had to do when you went on the ice and just preparing before your games.
Could you speak about the development you saw from Morgan Baker from her first season to last season?
Oh my goodness, Morgan improved so much, and that's not to say that she wasn't a good goalie, because she was an amazing goalie, and now it's just I didn't even know she could get that much better. Like she's super strong between the pipes, and we know we can count on her. She's bailed us out on so many different occasions, and you don't want to leave it to her, but you know that if you make a mistake, she will save it. And on top of that, she's just a great person. So it's always nice when somebody is such a strong player and also has such strong character.
Well, we're going to go to our final commercial break in this interview. At aside, we are going to go to one last commercial break. We're going to come back and talk to you about your season you're having this year. Well, when you guys were able to play games. Right after the break here on Amateur Sports TV, I've been joined by Martina Barclay in this first part of this 2-parter on Coffee with Graeme's MFHL season coverage presented by Pure Nata and Fabricland Winkler. But first, a word from one of our other sponsors. Welcome back to this edition of MFHL Season Coverage, the first of our 2 interviews in today's show. But I've had a chance over the past hour and 15 minutes plus to be talking to, or hour and a bit to be talking to Martina Barclay, assistant captain of this year's Winnipeg Ice team. Before we went to break, well, in the last segment before we went to break, I was talking to Martina about just her career so far with the Winnipeg Ice. And now we're going to move into this season with your team. You guys came in probably with a chip on your shoulder after getting the finals canceled last season. Sucks that you guys haven't been able to improve on the season you've been having so far due to COVID-19. Fingers crossed that somehow the season does come back, but it's still up. It's still up for debate if it's going to come back or not, which sucks because especially for players like you in your final year and many other players on this team, it sucks that you guys aren't going to have one last shot at potentially making it back to the finals. But let's start off with just you being named an assistant captain, just what that was like being able to be named along all the other captains on this team.
Yeah, I was honored. There's we've mentioned this before, but there's a lot of people on the team that are the same age as me that are seniors. So to be one of them that was named the assistant captain is great. In my final like exit meeting type thing with Eugene, I mentioned that I wanted to be more of a leader next year, or which was this year. I on the ice and off the ice. I felt like I could make a positive impact on our team, and I would do that whether I had a letter or not. And so when they asked me, I was definitely very honored, especially to do it alongside Sarah, Duma, and Maya.
What type of leader would you call yourself out there on the ice and off the ice as well?
On the ice, I just try to lead by example and always work hard. And I think it's really important to just have positive morale on the bench at all times. Um, and then off the ice, I'm kind of made it my goal to just make sure that our team was getting along super well, and we haven't had any problems, and it hasn't been difficult for me. But I just always wanted to make sure that all of our rookies felt super welcome, and especially in such a weird year like this. Like at the very beginning, we had to be up in split up dressing rooms, so we couldn't always all talk together. We couldn't get together for a team party to bond. So I wanted everyone to just feel super welcome, feel like they could be themselves. It was okay to make a mistake, that sort of thing. And like I said, that hasn't been a hard job for me. We don't have problems on our team, but that's sort of been my goal off the ice.
Now, I'm forgetting if I asked Juliana this question, but I'm going to ask you this question, get your point of view on things from this perspective. Is just the family culture that's been built up on this Winnipeg Ice team, and how you guys are able to welcome in the new players with such ease. Describe the family culture that's been built up here by Eugene and his staff, and just the players in the room.
Yeah, I think everybody's had their little piece that they've added to it. We have people who are super competitive, and so that just brings everybody's level up. We have people who like to joke around and are just some of the funniest people I've ever met. And then we have Eugene and Jess, who just always keep us on track, but also know how to just relax and have a good time. And then we've got Nicole Leslie, who's a defense coach, and we love hearing all her stories of the day. And then this year we added Maddie Bieluk, and everybody always has lots of laughs with her. So I think that there's just a good mix of intensity, and it's also just really fun going to the rink every day, and we really do enjoy being around each other. So even if this season can't continue, I think we're all just looking forward to being able to see each other again.
Yeah, for sure. And just going back to what we talked about earlier in the show with your time with the Titans, it's those lasting friendships that you make in hockey that you're always going to remember. And it seems like your teammates, along with you and all your other teammates you've had the chance to play with on the ice, have been able to create those bonds, those friendships, which is great. Just paraphrasing the Winnipeg Ice website, they said about you that you're most excited to get to the finals again this year and play with new members on the team. Let's talk about the rookies you have on the team this year. You guys have 6 rookies. Just what's it been like for you to be able to get to know them?
Oh, it's been great, and I'm really sad that we can't do it more in person. I think that our rookies are super outgoing, and they're a lot of fun to be around. They are super interested in hearing what you have to say about their play. I think they're all super willing to learn, and even though I'm just 2 years older than them, I think that they really look up to the grade 12s because we've been in the league for a few years now, and I just think that they're of great character, all of them, and I think that they're hilarious. So I've absolutely loved getting to know each of our rookies, and I will definitely be following their AAA careers, and maybe if they sign to a university, I'll definitely be following their careers even after I leave.
For the players that you've been here with from 2018 all the way up to now, just the experiences you guys have gone through, making it to 2 straight semifinals and going on a finals run last year, just how would you say that you guys have grown throughout your time here with the Winnipeg Ice?
We've grown so much. Like, it feels like such a long time ago, and also just yesterday that we were starting AAA. And for some of us, like I've played with Reagan Udall since my first year of AA. So that feels like, did that even happen? So I just think that, every year you learn so much more about the game, and we every year we go on a trip and make another fun memory. And I think that not only have we've grown as hockey players, obviously, I think that we've kind of had the opportunity to see each other grow up a bit, and we're all, at least the ones my age, we're all graduating this year and going off to universities. And so for us who have played against each other since we were 6 and 7, and who have played spring hockey together, it's kind of like we're watching each other grow up, which is a little sad, obviously, but it's really exciting. And I think we'll definitely be keeping track of each other's careers and encouraging each other no matter where we go.
You spoke about Morgan Baker. Now I'm going to throw it on to what you've seen from the short amount of time you guys have been able to play this season from Rylan Lopke in her second season with this team. Just what have you noticed that's different in her game this season? She's been able to win both her games that she's played in this year, but what have been the things that you've noticed from Rylan's development from last year when she came into this Winnipeg Ice team as a rookie to this year as she's got a year under her belt?
I think that Rylan, is one of those players who's always trying to improve. And she does like to, I'm going to say it again, hold herself accountable. And I know that that's something I've said a lot, but it's, she is always trying to get better, and she does always want to learn. And she will say, like, where is it? She will take notice of where you keep scoring on her, and she will try to fix that. If she knows that I'm always going to shoot above her right pad. So she notices those types of things, and she has sort of quiet intensity to her. And she has improved a lot since, of course, everybody's improved. And we feel like we can trust her when she's in the net. And I'm not just saying that because it's an interview. Like, we really do trust both of our goalies. And yeah, it's been great playing with her.
For you this year, you're having the best start to your career so far. You got 8 points in 6 games played, and you're top 5 in the league in points. I know that you've talked so much about how you hold yourself accountable and how you've really said that you've developed your two-way game so much throughout these years. But what do you think has been the biggest factor in you having the type of start to the year you've had this year?
I honestly think that the biggest factor was that I had so many struggles earlier on in my career. And I did struggle a lot with feeling like I wasn't not even just producing enough points, but that I wasn't constantly playing my best, that I wasn't helping out my team as much as I could have been. And this was fully something that was something I put on myself. I always had a great environment with the team. I always had great coaching. It was just me not feeling as though I was doing everything I could. So I think that in the off seasons, I've worked really hard on just improving those areas of my game that I feel like I need to improve on. And on top of that, just how to sort of deal mentally with the ups and downs of the game. And I think that that's the biggest reason why I've had less trouble this year, because I've gotten a lot better at just putting on the reset button and just, focusing on one shift at a time. And those are cliches that, you hear all the time, the reset button, one shift at a time, don't worry about your mistakes, don't get frustrated. But even if I wasn't visually getting frustrated, I think that, after games in my earlier seasons, I definitely would be feeling that frustration. So I think that those struggles earlier on have helped me to sort of know what I need to do, that I can do it. And that's why I've been a lot more successful in this year and at the end of last year.
What were the things that you really emphasized working on in the off season to get prepared for this year?
I want to be really consistent in my forecheck, in my back check. I wanted to just make sure I was as fit as possible, which was one thing. And that, of course, is important for all hockey players, to be as fit as possible. And I wanted to always make good decisions on the ice. So I watched as much hockey as I could with COVID. I do watch a lot of videos. I'm always trying to learn new things I can do in certain situations. And I really wanted to improve my puck handling skills. You know, I'm a very good skater, but I felt that if I could improve any part of my game, it would be my puck handling skills. So I want to be better at, you know, being evasive in corners and coming out of battles with the puck and everything. And there's always so many things you can improve on. I can still improve on my skating, but I want to improve my quick release, my puck handling skills, and just continuing to be reliable on both ends of the ice.
How did you really put that into practice in your off-season training?
Well, I do over this winter. I know it's not off season, but I do have a rink, so I've been trying to skate as much as I can. I did a lot of physical activity over the summer. Quite a bit of skating. I played a lot of tennis. I did a lot of track to work on my speed, a lot of biking, that sort of thing. And then, so I feel like that helped my physical fitness the most. And then, yeah, I watched a lot of video. I went to a lot of different skates. I didn't do one long program the whole summer. I went to a lot of different skates because I wanted to get perspectives from a lot of different coaches. And then it also was important to me to do skates that not only were skills based, because I think that's very important, the skills portion, but also to do skates that had a scrimmage portion, because I wanted to be able to try out a lot of the new moves that I was watching, and I wanted to be able to put them into action and see what works and see what doesn't, and that sort of thing.
You spoke about how you watched a lot of hockey as much as you could during COVID, and just it's always kind of neat from personal experience. I watched some film. I know my uncle came out to games and filmed me playing, and watching yourself play is a lot different than like from what you actually see on the ice. You can analyze a lot of things differently, but just in terms from you watching clips of hockey, watching a lot of it, how do you think that in that aspect it's really helped your game?
Well, of course, because you can see the whole ice, it shows you, oh, that's what I could have done in that situation instead. It shows you every time you're out of position. Even times when you think you're skating really fast, you think, oh, I could have maybe been skating a little faster. So I just think that it allows you to see every aspect of the game. You can even watch your teammates from a different light than maybe you would have if you were on the bench. And so just watching everyone. And then also if, obviously, if I wasn't playing the same teams, this might not help, but watching other teams as well and seeing what their systems are, what they do, not just watching yourself and the players on your team, but what's the best sport on the other team doing. And, you know, if they have a good move in a shootout or something like that, that's the sort of thing that I look at too. And I try to mimic that if I can.
Moving into the regular season, just the results that you guys have had some ups and some downs. Just talking about what you found from this team that they've done really well in these games and what they've kind of lacked on so far.
I think that this year was a little bit of an adjustment for us because it's probably the biggest change that our team has felt since it began. You know, this is, I think, how many rookies do we have? 5 or 6. And we've never really had that many. And even when we did, they were people that we'd all played with before. So this is the first time that we're having rookies coming in that we've never played with before. I'd never heard of some of them before because, you know, there's so many girls playing hockey in the Winnipeg area. So I think that it was definitely an adjustment because we don't know how each other plays. And so having, they needed to learn all of our systems. Everybody's coming from different coaches. Some coaches don't have the same background that ours do, so maybe they didn't learn as many systems in their AA year. So we just needed to sort of break the ice in that sense, in learning systems and learning how we do our breakout, and learning just what's expected. And I think that might have been made a little harder by COVID, but not so much. I think that no matter what, it would happen, and hopefully we're past that when we come back. And yeah.
And losses that you guys have had have been close losses. A 3-2 shootout loss versus Yellowhead for your first loss of the year. Close 3-2 regulation loss against the Abros, and then a 2-1 shootout loss versus Pembina Valley. So it's not like you guys were getting blown out in these games. You guys were in those games and had chances to win. But do you think that those type of losses, being as close as they were, are going to benefit you guys come when, in the later part of the season, if it does return to play and when the season does come back?
Absolutely. It can be those games are so tight, one shift can be the difference. And so I think it's really important for our rookies, but also the whole team to see that, we will win games, we will lose games. And sometimes they will be very tight like that. And so that's why you just need to leave it all out on the ice every shift. And we've tried to lead by example for our rookies coming in, and we hope that we've done that, and we'll continue to try to do that if we come back. And I think that those tight games just demonstrate how important every shift is, and we'll definitely be coming back stronger.
Well, Martina, awesome to hear that you seem optimistic about your team when they return, and you guys got a lot to be proud of, to look forward to. Oh, before I actually let you go, just what line have you been playing on this season?
This season,
who with?
Playing most with Kiana Sayan and Reagan Udall. So Kiana, actually, we call it the Titan line because Kiana played for the Titans, and
awesome.
Reagan and I also played together.
Yeah. And I guess I should ask this question: how do you think that your line is able to produce the way you guys have been able to produce?
I think that Reagan and I played together for so long, we kind of know where each other's going to be. And like I said, she's so quick. And Kiana is just such a fun person to be around. She's so willing to learn. She is a great player, and she's got a good shot, and she's always asking for confirmation where we want her to be and everything. And, we just say, just go out there and do your best. And that's okay with us. You're not just learning from us, we're learning from you as well. So I just think that, we work well together. We talk a lot about what we want to do on the ice, and that's what helped us a lot.
Yeah, and it really sucks that with a player like Kiana, her coming in as a rookie, just knowing that it could have been some good bonding, you may be taking her under your wing this season for a huge part of the year. Sucks that isn't going to happen this year due to COVID-19 ruining things. But it's great to hear that you're enjoying playing with your line mates, still enjoying playing with this team, and good to know that you're optimistic about your team's chances when the season does return to play, because just looking at what you guys got forward, defensively, and in your goaltending with what I think is the best tandem in the league, you guys could make I think you guys, if playoffs do happen this year and you guys are able to finish the season, I think you guys have a very good shot to be one of those teams at the end of it all. So thank you so much for joining me tonight, Martina. It was a lot of fun. We're going to go to our next commercial break, and then after that, I'm going to introduce the next guest of today's episode of Coffee with Graeme's MFHL season coverage, second-year defenseman of the Yellowhead Chiefs, Louise Fergusson, coming up here on ASTV's coverage of Coffee with Graeme's MFHL season coverage.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Jungle.
Welcome back to Coffee with Graham's MFHL season coverage on ASTV Productions. My next guest on today's episode is number 16 of the Yellowhead Chiefs, Louise Fergusson. Louise is in her second season with Yellowhead's U18 program this year. She recently committed to the University of Manitoba Bisons for the 2022-2023 season. I had a chance to speak to her about her time with the Yellowhead's U18 program, as well as what it was like signing with the University of Manitoba. We also dive into the earlier years of her hockey career, where from Squirts to the Peewee level, she spent it playing with the Souris Elks House League team. Also, she spent 2 seasons before joining the Yellowhead Chiefs U18 team with the Yellowhead Chiefs Bantam program, where they ended up going to the provincial final in her second season, ultimately losing in the gold medal game. So sit back, enjoy this second part of today's episode of MFHL season coverage on Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. The second guest on today's edition of MFHL season coverage is second-year Yellowhead Chiefs defenseman number 16, Louise Fergusson, joining me now. Louise, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Of course, this interview going out on this Thursday morning here on Amateur Sports TV, but how are you doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. It's going to be a lot of fun just getting into your university commitment, your time playing on teams before playing for the U18 Chiefs, and then just moving into your first and your second year now with the Chiefs. But starting off with the university commitment, you committed to the University of Manitoba Bisons for the 2022-23 season. Just what was that like getting to commit for that team come 2022?
It was exciting, yeah. I've always wanted to play at the higher level of hockey, and getting to is pretty good. And committing super early is really nice too. So.
Yeah, it's great. And you're going to be joining a familiar face on that team at some point with Jenna Barcelo. Just how exciting is that, knowing that you're going to be able to join a player like that on the team where you already got some familiarity with her?
That's super exciting. Like I said, yeah.
Nice. And just what you've said. You told Game On Magazine that it's a very exciting time for both you and your family. You're very excited to play close to home in a strong program, and it's been a goal of yours to play at the U Sports level. So just starting off with getting to play close to home in your home province, just how does that feel, being able to, not only play close to home, but also have your family come out to games as well at some point?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They can always come and watch too, and I can come home for the weekends if I need to. So.
Yeah, right on. And was there any other schools that have been kind of talking to you in this process of you wanting to sign your commitment so early, or was the University of Manitoba the only school that showed interest so early on?
I had a couple, but U of M really stood out to me.
And what were the other schools that called out to you?
Just a couple other schools in the U of Sports West programs.
Nice. And why did you decide to commit so early on when you know you could make the commitment next year? But why did you decide to commit in your second year as a Yellowhead Chief?
I guess I just really liked the U of M program, and I always knew that that's where I was going to go. So.
And you got to play for a coach in John Rempel, who gave you some praise, saying that you come from a hardworking family and work ethic will bring immediate value to our team. So just how do you feel about getting praise like that from a coach that you're going to be spending the next part of your hockey career playing for?
It's really nice, yeah. It was super exciting to read too. So.
And how excited are you to be able to play for John Rempel?
I think it's super exciting, yeah. He's a really good coach, so it'll be nice and fun.
And you're going to be, I talked about how you're joining Jenna Barcelo at some point there, but Rachel Gottfried also committed for next season, the 2021-2022 season. Just being able to be surrounded with familiar faces, as in the some players you played against in this league, along with joining some other strong players that have committed to this program. Just what excites you the most about joining this Bison's team when you do join them?
I think it'll be a really good team, knowing that some of the girls I played against, they're always the best on the ice. So I think it'll be super fun.
And what's your living situation going to be? Are you going to be living on campus, or are you going to be maybe living in another place while you're at university?
I have no idea yet.
No idea yet. So is there anything you have in mind, or you just haven't decided that yet?
Haven't decided that yet.
Haven't decided. Yeah, that's understandable, though, because you still got a bit of time. You still got another year playing in the MFHL before you do make that jump. And that basic question, with all this time off that you've had since the league has been shut down, how much has the university commitment been on your mind?
It's a really big decision. It was a really big decision. So it was on my mind a little bit, but getting it out of the way is really nice. Just focus on school.
And of course, the Bison's playing in your home province of Manitoba. Did you ever have a chance to go out and see the university game, the games that they played in?
I've watched one game before, but that was like before COVID. So.
And just from being able to watch them, obviously the university game is different than the MFHL game or the places you played before. What did you notice about the university game that you're going to feel you need to really step up your game when you get there?
It's definitely stronger and faster. So just keep working hard.
And you talk about how like working hard is a big thing, but what are the things that you feel like you're going to focus on off the ice to really improve as a player throughout this time?
Definitely focusing on like mentality, stuff like that.
And I had a chance to hear about what type of player you are. You're known for your physical play combined with a strong skill set, which allows you to be a threat both offensively and defensively. You're also able to lead rushes up the ice. In the offensive zone, you jump into the play, you produce hard, effective shots from the point. Just going back to that point about you being able to jump into the play. Throughout your hockey life, has that always been something that you've done, or is that something that you've kind of learned to do as you've progressed as a hockey player?
It's definitely something I've always done. I've always liked to be in the play and rush the puck and things like that.
And it seems like you're a pretty strong offensive-minded defenseman. Would you say that sometimes your offensive game stands out from your defensive game?
Not really, I would say, but kinda.
Could you describe yourself as a player in the D zone?
Probably physical and big.
Now, before we move into our first break here on the show, in this interview, what are the things that you're most excited to experience in university in terms of just hockey?
The environment, I think, will change for hockey. And getting to play like a faster game too.
Yeah, right on. And in terms of environment, can you kind of expand on that point?
Just I'll be surrounded with a whole bunch of new faces, and that'll be nice. Fun.
Right. But that's something that you're excited for, and obviously the play is gonna jump up quite a bit in terms of like the speed, just the physicality, stuff like that. But how do you feel that your time spent in the MFHL, especially with a strong program like Yellowhead's been able to build up, will benefit you when you go to play university at that point?
Let me think. The coaching is really good in Yellowhead. Our head coach is really good. So I think just having a good coach already will be really good when I get up to university. Right
on. And we're going to talk about Coach Tibbetts later on in the show, but we're going to go to the first commercial break here in this part of the episode in terms of this interview. I'm going to be right back with Louise in just a moment here. You're going to hear from one of our lovely sponsors that have decided to sponsor today's edition of Coffee with Graeme's MFHL coverage for Week 15. Stick with me and Louise as we go to break here on ASTV. Back here on MFHL Season Coverage, this Week 15 installment, of course, powered by Pure Annata and Fabricland Winkler, along with all the other great sponsors that have sponsored today's show. I'm sitting down right now with Louise Fergusson, number 16, second-year defenseman for the Yellowhead Chiefs. And I was just talking to Louise before we went to break about her university commitment to the University of Manitoba for 2020 to 2023. We're going to move in now into where you played before you joined the Yellowhead Chiefs. Just back before you even joined their Bantam team with the Souris Elks, you played house league there, and you played from Squirts to Peewee, so from the very start of your time to your Peewee years. And just you played house league, so obviously not on the level of AAA, but what was it like playing house league back then?
I got to play with all my best friends because I went to school in Souris with everyone, so that was fun. I can't really remember that far back, but it was.
Yeah, and it's a while ago now, but you spent a good chunk of your hockey life playing there, and one thing you do remember, like you said, is the friendships made. So you'd say you're still in contact with a lot of those girls, or is there just a few that you're in contact with?
Yeah, I'm in contact with a lot of those girls still. A lot of them play for Wildcats.
Right on, yeah, and I know that Chrissy Rink is one of those girls. Just out of the things that you can take away from playing with the Souris Elks, would you say that the friendships you made, like the friendships you made with Chrissy Rink and all the others, are the things that you'll probably always remember about playing with that team?
Yeah, probably, and just learning to love hockey too.
Right on, and yeah, you took the jump after being able to go from Souris to playing with the Yellowhead Chiefs Bantam Team, and making the jump from house league to AAA is obviously a huge jump, but why did you feel you were able to make that jump?
Again, the coaches in Souris always had us working hard and prepared us for that jump.
What were the biggest adjustments you felt you needed to get used to at the very start of playing with the Yellowhead Chiefs Bantam Team?
Probably just to get faster, and it was a quicker game, so just focus on being mentally prepared.
Not the strongest team in that first season with Yellowhead, as you guys finished third last, but in the second season, you guys improved quite a bit. You were named a captain in that second season with a year under your belt from, the first year playing Bantam to the second year. What did you notice really started to improve in your game and really started to shape up in your game?
I definitely got faster and able to hit the net, so that was a plus. And a lot of the girls are my age, so we were the older team that year.
Right on. And you thought that experience that you guys had being an older team really benefited you guys out on the score sheet and just in games.
Yeah.
Right on. And what did you notice besides the experience that you guys had that season was the biggest factor to you guys improving as a team?
Our coach was really good that year too.
Nice. For you as a defender, as a defenseman, from that year 1 to year 2, how did you feel that you improved your game defensively?
Just again, I got bigger and stronger in the defensive area. So.
And did you do any off-ice training back then, or was it just more you focusing on just going out and playing?
Yeah, I did in Souris with a couple girls that year.
Right on. What were the things that were focused on in terms of like development in those sessions?
Just getting faster and stronger and stuff like that.
Getting faster, getting stronger, stuff like that. It's obviously like it was a huge part of your success and your help, and you were able to be a captain that season, the team's captain. Just what was that like being able to be named a leader on that team?
It was an honor because, yeah, it was an honor. It was, yeah.
So in your Bantam season, in your second Bantam season, you ended up making it all the way to the gold medal game. And such an improvement from the season before where you guys lost in the Constellation finals against Parkland. But just could you take me back to just that provincial run and how you guys were able to make it all the way to the finals?
Well, we actually beat the Wildcats in a shootout or in overtime to go to the gold medal game. So that was super exciting. And then, yeah, I don't know. We tried our hardest in the gold medal game, but we couldn't do it.
Obviously, a lot of pressure-packed moments in that overtime win against Westman to make it to the finals. Just what do you remember the most from that overtime win that you guys had? Just the experience of playing in a game like that where all the chips are on the table. It's winner take all to go to the final. Just take me back to that experience of playing in that game.
It was super exciting because I don't think we had beaten Westman all year. So getting to beat them in that game especially was very exciting.
And a heartbreaking way to end it, making it to the gold medal game and losing, but you guys had a lot to be proud of from where you guys were the year before to where you guys ended up. And it seemed like you enjoyed a good 2 years with that team in general. Just what were your biggest takeaways from your time spent with Yellowhead's Bantam program?
I made a lot of new friends on that team. So that's probably my biggest takeaway.
And just after having some time to sit with the loss that you had, what were the things that you reflected on after that season as you individually?
I just needed to work a little harder for the next level.
Well, we're going to go to our second commercial break in this part of the episode. I'll be right back with Louise to dive into her time with the U18 Chiefs here on Coffee with Graeme's Week 15 installment of MFHL Season Coverage presented by Purinata and Fabricland Winkler. We're going to hear from another great sponsor sponsoring today's show here on ASTV.
At Super 8 Winnipeg West, we have your comfort in mind with free Wi-Fi and free daily Superstart breakfast. We also have guest laundry facilities, a state-of-the-art fitness center, and a jetted hot tub. Sleep well in a spacious guest room equipped with plush new bedding, a 50-inch flat-screen HD TV, microwave, mini refrigerator, and Keurig coffee maker. Or book a suite with a kitchen, ideal for extended stays. Super 8 Winnipeg West, located just inside the perimeter on Portage Avenue.
Graeme, Forsyth back here with number 16, second-year defenseman of the Yellowhead Chiefs, Louise Fergusson. And I've just been talking to Louise about her university commitment as well as her time playing for the Souris Elks and the Yellowhead Chiefs Bantam Team for her 2 years before joining the Yellowhead Chiefs U18 team back in 2019-20, which was last season. So just coming off a finals loss in the provincials in that gold medal game, coming into a team on the Yellowhead Chiefs who through the years have built up such a strong program, ended up winning the league championship back in 2015-16, the third different team to do that to that point. You know, you're coming into a program where you're familiar with their Bantam program, you come into tryouts. Just what was that tryout process like last year to you making this team?
Well, I'd been there the year before, so I already kind of knew the coaches. I AP'd for the team before. I was definitely extremely nervous, but it was super fun. All the girls were so nice. So, yeah.
And just going back to those times where you AP'd for them the year before, just what were your biggest takeaways from the U18 game back then?
That it was a lot faster than the Bantam team. So I just had to get,
Now, what was the off season for you like heading into that first season of making that team?
Definitely a lot harder than before. I started working out more and doing more track and stuff like that.
And was there a part of your game, like you've talked about how speed and getting stronger are the biggest parts of your focus and training, but were you focused on improving other things like maybe your puck handling, your shot in that off season?
Yeah, definitely my shot. I was taking shots every day.
And from what I've heard, you got a hard, effective shot. Just what do you think is the biggest strength of your shot as a player?
I have a pretty good aim. I don't aim for like the glass. I aim for the net low so I can get just deflections in the net.
Well, that's good, giving your team higher percentage opportunities to score out there when you do that. And yeah, that's great to hear. But you made this team, a lot of hard work put into it. You spoke about how it was a harder off season, but just what was it like finding out you made this Yellowhead Chiefs U18 squad?
It was super exciting, yeah. Just knowing that I made it, and then I just had to put more effort and work in to be the best I could be as well.
And Derek Tibbetts, the head coach of this team, head coach he got so much praise from others around the league. Players left to play for him, but what have you loved the most from just playing under Derek in these years that you've had to play with the U18 team?
He's always so supportive. He's very nice, and he runs a very good practice as well.
And can you remember like how it was for the first time talking to him? Was it a long conversation or was it kind of a shorter conversation?
I think it was a medium conversation. I think it was at tryouts, the first time I went to tryouts.
Nice. And just talking about this team, a very good defensive team. And you guys had a lot of experience last season on that blue line. You had Lauren Mitcha, Jada Chartrand, Levi Durkach, and Madison Bartow. Just what was it like being able to come in and learn from those players?
Super exciting, yeah. Lauren was my D partner last year, so she taught me a lot of stuff. It was really nice playing with the older girl.
Nice. And what do you think, like, between you and her, how you guys complemented each other's playing styles so well?
She would like to hang back, and I like to rush the puck, so we complement each other like that.
That's great. It really created a good balance within that pairing where you got one that's more about staying back, and then of course you rushing up the puck. That's definitely creates a good balance. But you got to move up with a bunch of your friends from the season before, and Kate Leahipi, pretty sure I'm pronouncing that first name right, Casey Flyard, Cora Tibbetts, Josie Nichols, Kaylee McGuire, and goaltender Sadie Kwan. Just how did that make the transition easier, being able to move up with players like that into a team where you're playing with girls that were, some girls that were older than you that were already experienced?
It was super nice. Some of those girls are my best friends, so just knowing familiar faces in the dressing room wasn't as nerve-wracking the first couple times, and knowing how people play as well.
What was it like from the very start, just getting used to the type of systems that this Yellowhead Chiefs team played?
It was different from Bantam, but it was easy to catch on.
And do you think that's what Derek does so good as a coach is he makes it's an effective system, obviously, but it's also an easy system to kind of get your hands on and learn from it. Do you think that's why this team had so much success is that it's such an easy system to learn and really produce in?
He's really good at spending time with players who need the help. So I think that's what he does really good, is he makes sure that you know what you're doing.
Right. That's so huge for development too. And, you put up pretty solid numbers in your rookie season in total games played. You played 43 games in total, 10 goals, 12 assists for 22 points, 2 game winners, and only 16 penalty minutes. So for the number of games you played, you were a clean player. Put up some offensive production in there as well. And you had your first point against Thunder Bay Queens in the second game of a preseason tournament. Then you got 2 goals in your next game against Interlake of that tournament. Just being able to show your offensive ability. Just how nice was that for you so early on, knowing that you could come out and produce offensively from the back end?
It was super nice just to know that I had a lot of support in the game, so I could do that. So, yeah.
Moving on to the regular season, you guys finished 3rd place last year. You put up 17 points in 28 games played, 8 goals, 9 assists. And, you really added a bit of offense to this team from the back end, which was nice. But just what did you feel that you added? I know that you talked about how your strength and speed is a big part of your game, but do you think those were the biggest things that you added in your first year?
I think I added size to the defense roster for Yellowhead because a lot of the girls are pretty small, but definitely offensive. A lot of the defensemen are not very offensive, but I've definitely added that.
And, just talking about how much of an adjustment it was, do you feel like as the more time you had to spend in the system, the more the season went on, that you really started to find your groove as a player in that first year?
Yeah, I definitely did, yeah.
So your first 2 career regular season points came against Interlake in a 4-0 win. That started a 3-game point streak, and it showed in that first year that you could show some consistency at some points. Just what did you feel went into the times when you did show consistency to you being able to show consistency?
Focus, when I was mentally ready to play the games and stuff like that.
And you also had a huge game against Central Plains at one point where you scored a hat trick in a 6-0 win. Just, you being able to do that, obviously a lot of things going right in your game, but can you remember exactly just what went right in that game, what the feeling was like of, just preparing for that game to you being able to go out and put up 3 goals?
It was definitely my team. We were playing good as a team. I wouldn't say it was just me. It was my team that helps me do that.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, definitely you feeded off some of the good energy for sure. Do you think that that's a big reason why this Yellowhead Chiefs team is so good too, is just how invested the team is and just bonding together and really creating that family culture?
Yeah, I would say so. Derek always tells us that we're a family, so.
Going into playoffs, quarterfinals against the Pembina Valley Hawks, you guys swept them. You had 3 points in that first series. And the first game of that series was a hard-fought one. You guys went to OT. Ended up winning 5-4. A back-and-forth third period. It was 3-2 for you guys in that third period. And you guys were down 2-1 going into that frame. So just, do you think that maybe that was the perfect start to you guys postseason, knowing you guys were a heavily favored team coming in to make it to the championship? In the end, you guys are on the ropes so early on, it's a wake-up call. Do you think that that was a huge part of really you guys making it far as games like that?
Yeah, we almost lost that game. There was a couple seconds left, and then we scored in the third period. So I think that was definitely a huge wake-up call for us, yeah.
And you guys found your game after that. You shut them out in the second game and let in only 1 goal in game 3. Just, do you feel like that series was maybe the best opening series that you guys could have asked for, just the way it started out and to the way it finished?
I would say so, yeah. As what I can remember, yeah.
And in the semis, you guys go up against the Winnipeg Ice. It's already been documented that was a back and forth, hard fought series, a game of inches in that last game. The series really could have gone either way, but you're going up against a Winnipeg Ice team that was third in goals for with 96, fourth in goals against with 64, and they were also undefeated against you guys in the season, but it wasn't total domination. It was 3 1-goal losses and 1 2-goal loss. How did you guys feel like you prepared for the Winnipeg Ice in that series?
I think we just had to wake up and start playing as hard as we could. It was really how we prepared.
And I had your captain on, Joey Simon, and I spoke to her about that series. And in a series, she said, in a series like that, you wanted to win. You wanted to be the team to win. You wanted to push yourselves. How did you feel like you guys pushed yourselves in that series?
We definitely had to push ourselves because they were really good. We all started working better together as a team. We started passing the puck better and doing stuff like that.
How did you feel that you guys battled in that 5th game? Obviously a game where, you guys ended up losing in the end, but just how do you think you guys battled in that game?
We had a really good first, second period, and then 10 minutes left in the third. I don't know what happened, but I think we played pretty good that game. It was just not in our favor.
How long did it take for you to get over that loss? After the season that you had, all the fun that you had, and knowing you made it so far and were so close to making it to the finals, how long did it take for you to really reflect on the loss and really just come to terms with it?
It was sad that I wouldn't get to play with the grade 12s again, but I just moved on and got ready for the next season, which didn't happen, but
yeah, and it's been unfortunate with COVID's done to minor sports here in Manitoba and just in other places in Canada as well. But just what did you reflect on as a whole from that season that you really wanted to focus on getting better coming into your second season?
like as a team, you mean?
Just as you individually.
Oh, as me individually.
Yeah.
Just consistency again, as you said earlier. Just play hard for every minute of the game, no matter what the score is.
Well, we're going to move into your second season after this break. We're going to go to our final commercial break in this interview. We might throw it to a break after this interview is done, but we're going to go to our final break for now. I'm with Louise Fergusson, number 16 of the Yellowhead Chiefs, second-year defenseman on this week's edition of Coffee with Graeme's MFHL Season Coverage on Amateur Sports TV.
Making the world a better place is always a work in progress, because our idea of success is not an endpoint. It's a new milestone from which we can move forward. As industries rise and new technologies take shape, we're committed to keeping pace, to ensuring our innovations are shared and our journeys celebrated, even as we set our sights on where to go next. This is how we live, how we learn, how we grow. Red River College, what we're doing is working.
Back here on MFHL Season Coverage with Louise Fergusson, number 16 of the Yellowhead Chiefs. In her second year now with the team, she had a pretty solid start to her season last year. Just a solid season last year for her, as I should say. And she's in her second year this year. She has a year under her belt coming in. And we talked about your off-season last year, how it was harder than usual. Just what was this offseason like, knowing that you're coming in, having a year under your belt, just the things that you decided to focus on?
I definitely focused on getting faster again, just to keep improving on things that I need to work on, like my shot and things like that.
Yep, a lot of us the same things. And it's really benefited you this year. You have, in 5 games played, a goal and 4 assists. Just how do you think that you've been able to step up even more so early on in the offensive side of things?
Working with a new team, we are passing really good at the start of the season. We gelled really well too, so it was nice.
For you this season, with you having a year of experience under your belt coming in, of course you're playing with a new deep partner this year, but just how do you think that, in your opinion, what do you think has been the differences this year compared to last year within just playing with a new partner?
We've got to play 1 game together so far, I believe. But we definitely figured out how to work with each other from practices and stuff. So that was nice.
And one team that you've had a lot of success against this season is the Winnipeg Avros. You had a goal and an assist in the season opener for you guys in the 3-1 win, and then you had 2 assists in the 4-3 loss the next time you guys met. Just for you this season, what do you think it is about playing the Avros that brings out your best offensively?
The Avros are always really good, so just always preparing for a really hard game and just always being ready, I think, is definitely.
Now, we've talked about the offensive things this season for you. Let's move into the defensive things. What have you noticed from your game that's really stepped up in the D zone?
I've definitely gotten better in the corners, keeping them away from the net and stuff like that.
And you're taking on a bigger role this year. How's that felt, just stepping into a bigger role?
Being one of the vets is, it's harder, but yeah.
And Joey said the rookies have fit in nicely this year. You guys have some great lines up front, but how's it been like just getting to know players like Faith Burtnick and Cassidy Johnson? Just what do you think that they've added to the core?
I've gotten the chance to play with Cassie before, and in Bantam, so I already knew how she played. Cassidy is very good, and so is Faith. Faith's in grade 9, and she is my D partner, and she's very good at moving the puck and making a play. She's very good at that, and so is Cassidy. They've added that.
You guys are fast this year, experienced. Rookies have fit in nicely. You can match up with the best teams because of these things. Do you feel like this team is maybe better than it was last year?
I would say we're close to the same. Again, having so many rookies like we did last year. I think that our rookies this year definitely filled in a lot of the spots that were graduated from last year. So that definitely helped.
Now, take me through that 3-2 shootout win against the Ice. At the time, you guys were both undefeated so early on in the season. But it was a game where you were down after the first and you guys came back. You guys were also down after the first to Central Plains. So you guys have been battle tested this year. We're going to get into just what the battle tested stuff has been like for you guys this year, but just take me through that one against the Winnipeg Ice. It's a rematch of last year's semifinal. Obviously, you guys want to come out and beat this team and avenge the loss last year, but just what was that game like?
I think on both sides, we both wanted to win, and we were both very similar teams. So it just came down to who worked harder. And in the end, it came down to shootout, like you said. And Joey scored the winning goal, and it was super exciting.
What's it been like to get to know Joey and to just see the type of player she was last year, where she was putting the puck in the net a bunch, and just this year where she scored in every single game this year? Just the development you've seen from Joey Simon's game from last year to this year.
Yeah, I was fortunate to play spring hockey with her before, so I knew her before. She's always been a really good player, and she's always able to put the puck in the net when she needs to. So yeah, she developed a lot last year too.
And you guys got 3 1-goal wins this year, of course. The win against Winnipeg in the 3-2 shootout where you guys were down. The Central Plains game where you guys were down 2-1 after the first and battled back. How do you think that these wins so early on are going to really help benefit this Yellowhead Chiefs team if you guys are able to come back at some point?
I think it was good for us to win a couple games to get more confident as a team as well. Yeah, I think it'll definitely benefit us if we can come back knowing that we can do that. So.
And what growth have you seen from just the rookies so far this year, and just the growth of this team so far this year throughout these first 5 games?
I think they've definitely gotten more comfortable playing with us, and a lot of them are really good this year, so that helps.
You guys haven't played a league game since October. Nobody in the league has been able to play games due to COVID-19. So you've had a lot of time to reflect on the season so far. Just what have you really taken away from these first 5 games of your second season with the Chiefs?
I've made a lot of new friendships with the new girls as well, and got taken away. I need to think about this.
Okay, take your time.
It's gotten a lot more harder at practice as well. We've been working a lot harder at practice because we're all basically at the same level. So just having that competition in our team as well, it makes us better.
What have you been focusing on for yourself as an individual throughout this time to you just staying in game shape to when, and more importantly, if the season comes back?
I've been skating a lot and just making sure I'm mentally prepared for if the season comes back, like passes and stuff like that, doing things like that.
And that's going to do it for today's edition of Coffee with Graeme's MFHL season coverage. Special thanks to Martina Barclay and Louise Fergusson for hopping on and joining me on today's edition of the show. Special thanks to you, the viewer, for watching today's episode, and also a special thanks to all of the sponsors who sponsored this week's installment of MFHL season coverage on Coffee with Graeme. I'll be back on the network on Tuesday for Coffee with Graeme at 10:30 a.m. You can follow along on our Facebook and YouTube pages at Amateur Sports TV to watch the coverage. Also, if you want to stay up to date with when our guests are going to be revealed, be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook at Amateur Sports TV, and also on our Instagram at amateursports.tv. Also, be sure to visit our website at amateursports.tv as well. And also, that's not it for me this week on the network. I'll be back here at 8 p.m. Central Time tomorrow night to bring you guys an episode of the Prospect Show. It's the return of that show after a very, very long layoff for me. But it's been a great week being back. I hope you guys enjoyed today's edition of the show. I'll see you later, folks. Graeme Forsyth, host of Coffee with Graeme, signing off now. Have a good one.